but they were talking about that SpaceX dropped over 250 for $50 billion or 200. They said it dropped. I
Yes.
was like, is this true?
Matter of fact, I'll pull that chart
Wow.
chart up too.
I'm like, that's crazy, but it's to be expected. Like it's like you was telling everyone like how they only had they got a certain amount. So I want to know what that means for all the employees who had that side became a millionaire, a quote unquote millionaire on paper. I want to know like
Oh man, that's
what
the
effect
thing.
did that
Like,
have on them?
if you're invested in it, and let's say like your employee, you've got 100,000, well, let's say 10,000 shares or whatever, and you can only sell, we'll just say 2,000 of those shares right now because of the limit. Those 8,000 shares that you have sitting idle, they're riding the wave. Meaning, if it's going down right now, your net worth is dropping at the same time. So it's going to get to the point to where, with that you have that money on paper, but you can't sell it. Now what? You can't do anything with it because, like I said, like you can't sell it. So the only thing that you can do is hope, wish, and pray that there's some type of catalyst that's going to get people interested in that stock again to bring that price back up. Otherwise, you're sitting on losing money. And of course, like most people, especially in that situation, they're not losing anything because most likely the stocks were given into it for free from the work that they did or whatever the case may be, and they got in at a very, very low price. It's just that stock isn't going to be as much. It's not going to be worth as much compared to what it could have been at that selling point that you would have taken at that top. Very much so. Exactly. 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 And so you think, okay. No, what was you saying? Yeah, this finance game is man, it can get real dirty. Real dirty. Because you got to think, like, you got people with real, I'm talking about hundreds of M's, billions of dollars, and they're not playing for crumbs. So it's like whatever they have to make that chart look like to get you to get invested, to move that chart a certain way, even if they're doing it their own. Like, people will do wash trades all day where they're buying and selling the same stock to make that chart look a certain way because they know the general public is going to see that. And when they do, they're going to act a certain way, if that makes sense. Right. Exactly. And that's not even including the exchanges that you're trading on. Like Binance was huge in the crypto industry when crypto first started taking off because most people that were trading crypto were using Binance as the exchange. Meaning like that's where they were buying or selling their crypto. The challenge is okay, well, if you got Binance and what they're doing is they're putting on crypto coins and projects that are not good for the public because they don't have real utility. They really don't have a good service. The team is faulty. They're pretty much just trying to scrape money from you, and they consistently putting out these bad coins. That's a bad look for them. And on the low, that's pretty much what was going on. They were pretty much giving anybody the green light that would give them that check that they're asking for. They were listing your coin on their service. Now the challenge is, as a consumer, if you're on the lower part of the totem pole, how do I figure out what I'm buying is real? How do I know that, I'm not going to get scammed here in a few weeks or a few months when things go bad? And that's really that's the challenge. So like I said, like the best way to look at crypto is the stock market starting over. And if it's not a real product, a real service that can help move a product a certain way, move an industry a certain way, or something that you understand that is going to be used in the near future, I wouldn't even touch it right now. I wouldn't touch it at all. Because like I said, the probability of you taking a loss is so much greater compared to you just taking a few dollars and investing into something that you know about, that you believe has a high probability of being used in the future. Like, there's no reason for people in the general public to know about Dogecoin, but you don't know about Bank Social. You don't know about XRP. And the reason why people know about XRP a little bit more now is because there's so many people talking about it. But man, I can't tell you, like, when I'm bringing up XRP, when I got on it, nobody knew what that was. Nobody knew that it was a bank transfer system, where you can take a lot of money and move it on pennies on the dollar, and it's saving the bank's money. If not, it's allowing them to make money because they don't have to have the cash reserves that they normally have to do the same thing. That's a game changer. Pretty much, it's what it does is it allows. Okay, so like when you're doing a bank wire transfer traditionally, if you're moving money from the United States to China, you still have to have cash on both sides. If you got US dollars and the Chinese yuan, whatever, you have to have that on both sides in order for you to make that transaction happen. And what happens is the banks have a verification system that takes time for you to send that transmission from one point to another. Days. Not only that, but you having money sitting idle, that money could be used for something else. So now you have cash that's sitting idle, that can't be used for nothing outside of guaranteeing that when you make a transaction with another country, it's going to go through. Well, if you take all of that out, you say, scratch that, we want a brand new system. This is what pretty much XRP is doing. They have crypto coins that move instantly, literally instantly. You don't have to worry about having that same cash reserve, which is saving the bank's money, because that money that they normally would be putting to the side for that transaction, they can use that for something else, whether it's investing, anything, loans, it doesn't matter. So the banks are saving money because they don't have to have the cash reserve. The money's moving faster. How is that not a win? You think about exactly. Now you think about like back in the days when we used to have to worry about getting our paycheck paid on time. Like, if you get paid on Friday, you're getting paid on Friday, not a minute earlier. And then magically, you had certain institutions that would allow you to get your paycheck a day or two earlier. People weren't paying attention. That was crypto in the background. They just didn't tell you about it. That was crypto. Exactly. That's crypto. And all it is the transaction that they're doing, it just changed a little bit. Instead of them having to worry about the cash reserves and having to worry about the Swift banking system and having these verifications be manually updated and processed, you've got a crypto account that you can send one money to another person with the same amount of money, and it's going to go through instantly. And you don't have to worry about that same bank verification, but you don't have to worry about none of that. That's what's allowing them to do what they're doing right now. Now, fast forward, I would say not even 2 or 3 years, I've heard about another project that is pretty much going to allow you to get your paycheck by the hour. So you're not even going to have to worry about getting your paycheck every week. If you want to cash your money out every single hour, you can do that. I think the only reason why they haven't pushed that through yet is because they're waiting for these crypto regulations to happen. But going back to the SpaceX situation, if you see the charts right now, we're looking at this stock. It opened up, we'll just say right around the $150 mark. It shot up to about what, 225, and it's coming right back down to that same mark, that same area that it's starting at. This is where you want to be paying attention at, because one or two things is going to happen. It's either going to break through this zone and it's going to keep going lower, or it's going to sit right here and it's going to bounce and it's going to go a little bit higher. Now, how high, we don't know yet. But this is the key area that you want to be looking at and say, okay, well, if I want to invest in SpaceX long term, this would be the area that you're looking at. Because like I said, either one or two things are going to happen. It's either going to hit this damn mark right here and it's going to keep dropping, and that's going to let you know, okay, well, I can probably get it at a cheaper price if I believe in what they're doing long term. I can ride it down a little bit further. At the same time, you know, okay, well, if it hits this area and it starts bouncing up and it's looking like it's going to go up, like right here in this area, and it's going to go up this right here in this area. Once it gets to about right in this area right here, where it's passing this little high mark, that might be a good time for you to think about buying in. But it, like I said, it just depends on, for one, your risk tolerance. It depends on, two, how long you're trying to hold it. But those are the things that you're looking for. There's no reason for you to be in a situation where you're buying a stock or a crypto at this price point, when you're seeing it going up, you know what I mean? And you just jumping on the wave, unless you know specifically what you're getting into. And two, you're getting in and you're getting out quickly. It doesn't make sense. You always want to make sure that it's coming down to an area and it's doing one of these numbers where it came right here, it bounced up, and most likely what I'm seeing is it's probably going to bounce right here again, and it's going to try to go up a little bit higher. Regardless, anytime that you are hearing about an asset and everybody's talking about it, like we said earlier, that's your time to sell. But when the markets go quiet, when you don't hear nobody talking about it, do your research, because most likely if it's a really good product or service, that's when you want to buy.